Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Vacation Station Travel and Leisure Show. Hey, everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's Vacation Station Travel Show, where every third Wednesday we get to go travel with Cheryl Ogle. Cheryl is known as the Hey Wanna Go Girl. See, she's got a new name today. She runs and owns Hey Wanna Go Travel. She's a travel advisor, an award-winning. Didn't I just see something about that? That you got some kind of award or accolation, Cheryl? I did. I saw something. You like got some big certification. You did something.
Oh, I've moved on.
See?
I've been so busy that I hadn't thought about it. Yeah, but that's, I mean, I don't know. I'm not one to brag really,
She's
but
not going to brag, but
it,
anyway, she's award winning. She's an award winning travel advisor, and she rocks. Go to her website, heywannago.com, and from there, click through to her blog, and you'll see her article showcasing travel hacks for the holidays. Holiday season travel can really suck, quite frankly, or it could be awesome. Either way, we're going to need these hacks to get through it because we're supposed to be happy during the holidays, right? And airports can make people get crabby. We don't want crabby.
no,
No.
no, we don't want grumpy visitors, and we don't want to be a grumpy visitor when we go somewhere. So
Oh, don't be grumpy when things change because apparently that can happen.
they change.
Period.
Um,
Get on with it.
right. Period. Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my biggest hack. Be nice. Bye. No.
Yeah.
Really, I think the first thing about any kind of travel is you've got to be flexible, and you have to realize you've got a 50-50 chance of having a hiccup in your
Yeah.
travels. When things go perfectly, it's lovely. I love when I don't hear from my client. I mean, I love to hear from my clients too, but I hate those middle of the night texts going, our flight was canceled, or it's delayed, we're missing our connection. What can you do? And I get out of bed and help them. But um, you got a 50-50 chance, really. Go in with that attitude. And with
Okay.
that, just know that you need to be nice. Be the nicer person. The people working the counter, they didn't cause the delays. The delays may be caused by maintenance or weather, or the crew didn't make it because they're stuck on a flight in Chicago and they're snowed in. And there's 100 different reasons that your flight may be delayed. But being a jerk at the counter is not going to help anyone.
Mm.
And all it's going to do is make you look like an idiot, and make the reps feel bad. They're doing
Yeah.
everything they can. Go to Starbucks and get them a coffee before your turn in line and say, here, thanks
Yeah.
for working. So go into travel with the idea of being flexible, and you'll get there. It'll
Mm.
happen. Air travel is not my favorite part of
It's not
travel.
just, it's not even just air travel on the roads, highways, and I have to tell you, every time there's a delay, literally, I'm going to say 90% to be really truthful, we'll go by and go, well, thank goodness we weren't there at the time of that happening. And
Exactly.
holiday season, people get crabby. I've got to be here by this time. No, you really, this is not a life or death thing. And,
Right.
road rage is not anything necessary that causes more accidents. And
Not
it's the same
helpful.
kind of thing about airplanes and the staff working there. It is like getting mad at somebody in a grocery store. They're not the most top paid people and they work really hard, and there's airline strikes all the time for a reason because they need more pay. And so what you're saying about getting him a coffee, you know what? It'll make you feel better to take some action, because why we get upset is that we are out of control when these things happen. And so the best thing to do is to take action. Then you feel you're controlling something, and then you're controlling being nice and doing something.
Well, it really does help. There's just nothing that comes good out of being angry. That doesn't open up more flights for
Mm-mm.
you, at all.
No,
And
no.
so really being kind, just along the way, be kind. And when travel goes as planned, be sure and thank people. Thank the flight attendants and the pilots for getting you there safely. Smile
Yeah.
and thank them. That, if you have the means, consider taking on a long haul flight. Consider taking a little goodie bag if you're flying on a holiday. They don't want to be working holidays either.
Right.
I'm flying on Thanksgiving Day, on Thanksgiving morning, and although it's just a domestic flight, I
Cheryl,
think,
you are a travel advisor and you're flying on a Thanksgiving.
you know what? No, it's better to fly on Thanksgiving than the day before. The day before is nuts.
Okay,
So
see.
I'm on a super early flight. I get to my destination before 9 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning. It's all good. I just booked it yesterday on a whim.
See, but that, yeah, you can. And honestly, thanking the pilots and everything, like, we've got a friend who's a pilot, and I said, yeah, well, so and so had a bad day. He goes, us pilots we're not allowed to have a bad day. We're not allowed to have a bad day because they
I
got
like
to get people safely to their
I like that.
destination. And that
Yeah.
responsibility is so huge, and everybody that's part of it. And when I've heard all of the training that pilots go through, I'm like, holy cow, they're like cops. They're like everything, man. They
Yeah.
are like the armed forces, and there's a lot of retired military
Mhm.
veterans that are pilots now from what we've learned on shows. So I'm like, all right, some level of respect because seriously, they're flying a thing through the sky with us on it. Like, honestly, sometimes do you ever look at an airplane and go, how the heck did that happen? Like,
Yeah.
look at them once in a while in the sky going, that's for real, man. I know we take it for granted now, but when you think back to Wilbur Wright and all of those days, like and it all started with a hot air balloon. Think about being the first person on a hot air balloon.
It's remarkable. I still have no idea. I mean, I read the physics behind it. I don't know. I'm
I
just
don't
glad
get it.
we take off and we land, and thank God for safe
Yeah,
landings. And but yeah,
but it's
have some respect
exciting.
for the people who are there serving you, and especially during the holidays, because they would
Hmm.
rather be home with their kids and grandkids and
Mm.
spouses, I'm sure. But
And to the fellow travelers, that's the other thing. Everybody get in the spirit, have some gratitude. Thanksgiving time, holiday season.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's time for that. So one thing, booking travel. I know you did this real quick on a whim. Like, can people do standby during the holidays if they have to? I mean, it can happen. It can be rough, but oh, you're making the faces just for those
It's
listening. Cheryl's making
it's
faces.
not a great idea, but if you're booted from a flight because of a delay or something, and that's your option, jump on it and
Mm.
try. But if you're, I had a family of 6 in Italy this summer when Italy had a strike, and they were booked on
Oh,
standby on another flight, and there were only 2 spots that opened up. And they said, we're not. They had young boys, 8 to 14. They said, we're not separating our family. So if you don't have 6 spots, then we're not on the flight. And
mm.
so it's, of course, that was a whole
That
different
makes sense
issue.
though. But that makes
But yeah,
sense.
if you're a solo traveler, you may get lucky and get a middle row, a middle seat in a back row of the plane. Something may open up. But for families or couples,
Mm.
it's not great. And
How?
especially if
Mm.
you've planned a cruise or something over the holidays, you need to give yourself even an extra day. I always say for a cruise, come in the day before. With holiday season or international, you need to give yourself a couple of days because you've got to have that buffer. Things do happen. And it's
Mm.
awful, but you don't want to miss a cruise, and missing your flight is not, a reason to cancel.
Now,
So
what I was talking about you on a show earlier last month. Um, no, because of travel insurance. And I said, Cheryl says you must have travel insurance. And a travel writer was in the Azores, Joe Clark. You
mhm.
can hear her on our if you go to blendradioandtv.com or wherever you're listening to us on bigblendradio.com, Joe Clark. And she went to the Azores, and half her interview ended up being this because it was traumatic. She went
Mm.
out looking, they went on a dolphin Zodiac boat looking at dolphins and, and stuff like that. And it kept crashing. And she already had it, I think, well, the retina decided to pop out. That's not funny, right? And
Ooh.
and next thing you know, she's, taken to emergency in a foreign country. They put this on and she goes, by the way, it's cash only when it comes to some of that. So don't, you're going to remember you need a buffer on the wallet too when you travel. And she said she got on her plane home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you got on a plane with your eye that way? Well, modern technology, it worked. She had surgery the day she landed. She contacted her optometrist. Everything was sorted out. And she said the flights changed and everything. Her travel insurance took care of all of it. And she said if she didn't have her travel insurance, not fun. So I was like, well, that's what Cheryl says.
Cheryl says, I tell you, I'm wrong about a lot of things, but I'm right about travel insurance. Um, you have to, and in some instances, you may have to put a charge on a credit card and then get reimbursed.
Yes. Yeah.
And the same clients who were, had their flight canceled and everything, we filed. It was a pretty pricey trip, and we filed a claim with the preferred company that I like, Allianz, And they just got back their check for over $11,000 last Friday.
Wow.
A
So
payout from, no, it was from July travel. And yeah,
that's
I've
not
seen them
bad,
pay me
actually.
over and over. No, because they were rebooked. They lost the price of their flights because anyway,
Mm.
the airline said they were a no-show because they didn't have a flight. So they were a no-show because there was no flight to show up for. So we stopped fighting with them. We filed it as a travel insurance, but they took a train from
Hmm.
Rome to Milan. They took a flight from Milan to Paris and finally got it. But it was over $11,000 in expenses to get them, moving along their journey. And so they paid out every penny.
Wow.
So I just see it work over and over and over. If you're going 200 miles down the road and you don't have health issues or anything critical, you're driving or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't spend the money on a trip like that. But boy, if I'm leaving the US 48, or cruising, absolutely.
Do you have it? Can you get it like for the year?
You can. You can. If you have trips, they have to be trips that start within the next 12 months.
Oh,
But
okay.
there are annual policies now, and I would be more than happy to talk to anybody about that if that's something. If you have 3 or 4, you limit it. You do either a value of 5,000 or 7,500 or $10,000 for the year. But that is an option. I keep an annual policy on myself, and then often I'll buy a second policy if I'm traveling on a big trip,
Mm. Well,
just
I
because I
need
want
one
extra
just
medical
because
coverage.
I need ones just for my legs because they're so special and beautiful legs. Like, I think all the models have like insurance on their hands, their legs, and then so do they
Well,
have,
there's nothing about this to be
I
insured, so I've
I'm
not
just
ever looked
kidding.
into that
I'm
kind of
just kidding
insurance.
about my legs. Seriously, nobody needs to see that. I'm hitting that midlife stage and legs
Yeah, there's a
don't go with
reason
it.
we do shoulders up.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if
right.
anything, I
Um,
would.
no, no one needs to see Lisa's legs, but
Yeah,
they are important to me. But I like to hike. But but I think the insurance thing is, and it also gives you peace of mind, so that when you have peace of mind, like if you're going to argue with the airlines, don't try and do it that day. It's going to get messed up. Try and do it later. Get all
right.
your things in a row. So basically, make sure you have your paperwork too, right? Is
Exactly. Keep a copy of that policy with you, either on your phone is fine, or a printout so you know the emergency numbers and your policy number. You don't have to print all 50 pages. I don't do that
no.
either, but keep a printout or have screenshots on your phone that you can find them easily.
Mm.
That's important because you may end up needing that for sure.
That's how I'm the countries, full time, and it's how I do my car insurance. It's on my phone. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Through
it's
my
just
USA app, I pull it up.
yep,
I will
it's
say, as far we did talk about us needing it for ourselves, but a lot of policies, and the one that I generally purchase that I always purchase for myself, also covers immediate family members. So I have
oh,
parents in their 80s who I mean, this morning I was driving my stepdad to the doctor. Tomorrow I'm driving my mom to the doctor. So I have people in my life who depend on me. So if it's a week before travel or a few days before travel and someone who depends on me breaks a hip, I need to be with them and I need to cancel my travel. And I want insurance to at least give me a second chance. But also if I'm on my trip, I've got several trips coming up. If I'm on those and I get a call that someone's had a heart attack, I need to get home and be with them if I am their
okay.
caregiver.
Oh,
Hear that? We're having a big thunderstorm and
oh
the
yeah, I
house
did hear a
just
little
shook.
kaboom. Oh my gosh, I know.
Nothing like
Everybody,
being professional here with Cheryl.
Texas, I know Texas storms. Wow. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, you need insurance for Texas storms. I'm just
Right.
gonna
I know.
say.
Well, and I mean, I was on a trip, or I
Actually,
was supposed
that's
to
a
be on a
true
trip
thing.
last
Storms
year,
are,
and we got iced in, and the airport was closed for about 4 days, and it was a work trip, and I had to call my boss and go, I actually can't get out, and so he said, I got it, no worries, and the airline canceled the flight, and so I was iced in, could not leave my house. I had a sitter who had arrived, and bless her heart, we just agreed we'll stay in. She worked remotely, and she worked in her half of the house, and we'd share meals in the evening. But yeah,
uh,
that is a covered reason as well.
mm.
I couldn't go anywhere. So anyway,
Yeah,
consider travel insurance.
yeah, exactly. I think this is important. Also, what about airport security? Because I find that interesting. We pet sit too as we travel, and the ladies were sitting for right now. They were on their way they're flying off to Canada this time, and I said, "Oh, you better have a clean record." getting to Canada. It's a true thing. You've talked
Yep,
about that before in
exactly.
shows, but um, they were like, oh no, they were talking about what shoes to wear. And I said, well, you need shoes to slide on and off. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, no, you have to take your shoes off. I haven't flown for so long. Like, I'm like, you have to
Mm,
take your shoes off. So I totally forgot all this. And for first time travelers or people flying, this might be something they should know too. I forgot. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Your
behind
your
about what
shoes, your
happens.
belt, your jacket, if you've got a scarf, if you've got really chunky jewelry. Um, I was wearing, I don't know, so, and they were just sterling silver rings when I was traveling a few weeks ago, and they went off. And she said, "I think it's your rings." Okay, took them off, and it was fine. So you don't know, but you definitely shoes. Now, I think it's if you hit 70, shoes and belt are no longer required to be removed. Or if you have global entry or TSA pre-check, you don't remove those things. But for everybody else, you do. You've got to be ready. You've got to know your liquid limits, and it's 1 quart Ziploc bag with 3.4 ounces in it. That doesn't mean it. You can bring 3 or 4 quart Ziplocs, and don't bring your full body perfume. First of all, don't wear perfume when you travel, but that's a whole nother thing. I've gotten literally sick from someone wearing
Yeah.
perfume on a tour bus, and I'm highly allergic to the scent of roses. I was sick for weeks as a result, and had to ask the tour director, can you're not supposed to wear perfume? Can you stop? So anyway, don't cut down on what you bring. You don't need the full size products. You really don't. There are plenty of containers. If you can't find a container you like, go to Dollar Tree, buy a product that's in a solid bottle and pour it out if you need to.
Mm,
But look at the ounces, read the TSA
mm.
website, and know, because there's nothing more frustrating than to be behind somebody who's got a bottle of perfume or aftershave, and then the hairspray, and then a full thing of toothpaste. I mean, on and on and on and on. You can't take them in, and half a coffee and half a Coke, so you
Oh man,
can't.
see
And
at this point, I'm like, just go get it on the other side.
exactly. The only thing that you really can take, I mean, if it's a medical need, you need water for baby formula and you're traveling with a baby, that's
Oh,
different.
okay, yeah.
And there are some cases that you can bring those things through, as well as little like freezer, frozen, what do they call them, blue ice, or the little freezer bags to, if you're pumping breast milk, you need to keep breast milk cold, or baby food or something. So there are some instances, and they'll be screened separately. You can, if you need a bottle of water for medication, you can take that through sealed, and you draw attention to it, and they'll screen it separately. They'll also tell you, you can buy water. Well, I know I don't always want to buy a $5 bottle of water,
Mm-mm.
but if you have a refillable water bottle, that's ideal, because all airports now have the water refill, and it's filtered water,
Oh
and
wow.
it's free. And stop, you can cut down on the plastic waste, but that's a whole nother show. But you can cut down on paying $5 every time you want a bottle of water,
Mm.
for sure. So in my blog, I linked my favorite, and it's a Brita, and it has its own filter. So then if I'm filling up in the hotel rooms, water should be clean enough, but I'm kind of weird about the taste of my water.
Well,
So
no, you don't know because sometimes it has to do with the pipes and it has to do with the city. I mean, come on, look at Flint,
yeah,
Michigan. Like,
yeah,
everywhere we go, I'm like, can we drink the water? Because it's a true factor. You never know like what a city is like, you think if
exactly.
they have an airport, it'll be good, but Flint, Michigan has an airport. Sorry to nail Flint, but you did have some problems. Just saying, so does Barstow. But anyway, we won't go in. Well, it's Aaron
But
Brockovich
consider
went.
that.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Hmm.
if you can get one with a filter, I think mine cost about $20, and it's easy to clean. I only put water in there. I never put in little flavor
Mm-mm.
packets, because I don't want my filter to start tasting like blackberry lemonade. But I know that I've got water with me. I'm a cougher, and as soon as that air on the plane starts blowing, I start coughing. And everyone's, of course, especially now, everyone starts looking at me. It's like, I'm not sick. I'm just a cougher. So I like to have my water with me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. That's why I always have tea or water too. When we do shows, all of a
Yes,
sudden I'll be
exactly.
fine until we start
Something wet with me.
recording.
So
Yeah, wet the whistle. Now, okay, so we did airport security. I've been patted down before. I won't say that I didn't like it. It was quite, no, I'm just kidding. Not I didn't enjoy that. And it
yeah.
was
Well,
it was
it's
not
scary, because you think I haven't done anything wrong, yet all of a sudden I'm nervous. walking through this machine. And
Well, I think I looked like a hippie back in the day, and this was when we were we were trying flying to the Channel Islands between from Heathrow, I think, or I can't remember if it was Gatwick or Heathrow to the Channel Islands in between England and France, and you're on the side with all the Ireland stuff, and so that's like anybody young with long hair got pulled over,
yeah,
but literally we got pulled over because
wow.
and so
And
they
I
they
understand they're taking safety seriously and they're doing their job. And
yeah.
we don't have to like it, but they are doing their job and they're doing the best they can. So
But it was freaky, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get pat," and I did get patted down, but nothing bad happened. They didn't do anything
yeah,
inappropriate.
right.
They just were checking, and then I thought, there are bombs that happen in Ireland, so maybe I got,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was back in the day.
It's not a terrible thing.
That
So
was like about 30 years ago, and stuff was happening. So I thought,
yeah,
that's all right. It's all good with me.
yeah.
Um, so we've done all that, but one more thing about safety is jewelry, and I think this is so important. I don't care. I mean, Nancy and I don't, you never see us really with jewelry, like,
Right.
because you don't, you just don't. I don't care where you're going. you
Be
know?
smart. I mean, we all like to show off. I've got some fancy pieces and I like when I wear them and I feel fun. And it was a piece that my dad gave my mom and it's special and I love it. But it does not travel with me because
Mm,
if I lost that, I would be devastated. And so I pack a couple of cheap rings, if anything, and then usually, my same little necklace. I don't change jewelry with outfits. I enjoy that at home, but it's too much to keep track of. It's a risk of being stolen or lost, and
hmm
there it's just pointless. So I have a tiny, it's an Altoids box that my oldest daughter made me. She's 35 this year, that she made me in VBS in 6th grade. And it has shells glued to the top, and that is my travel jewelry box. And if it doesn't fit in the Altoids box, um, it doesn't go with me. And so I'll
Oh,
put some handful of earrings, but that's about it.
mm.
Got to
See,
go with
I
it's
think
got to go
it's
in the box.
you don't want to be flashy about it either. I mean, you don't want to draw attention to yourself from people that you don't want to give attention to.
Right. Exactly.
Uh,
Because you already look like a tourist. But if you're wearing, a 3 or 4 carat ring, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I'd love one too. Don't travel with it because
yeah.
they look at you and they know you have money right there.
Yeah, and they're not going to stop at the ring, you
No,
know.
no, because they know you've got money, you've got credit cards, and you've got cash in your
Mm,
purse. So it's not
yeah.
may not even be the ring that they go after,
Mm,
but it's all the rest of the package. So
mm.
just be really, really smart.
Be
You can get
aware. I mean, yeah, I don't want to scare
things.
people from travel, but the reality is just these are very simple, basic things we can do. And we did a lot of shows with a gentleman, Ernie Patino. Um, he's a retired FBI agent turned novelist, crime novelist, and he did all the undercover stuff, which is cool. He had
Interesting.
good stories, man.
I'll
Um,
bet.
but he would come on and talk about things like spring break and holidays, and he goes, holiday season is one of those, and the criminals, that's what they do full time. You may be an accountant full time. That's what you're good at. Criminals do their work full time, just like you do.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so when they're watching you, they're watching and they're
Mhm.
looking for any kind of opening you give them, they will take. And if you
Sure.
let them know, hey, here I am, I got the jewelry, I got hundreds of dollars in my wallet. You know, I take money and spread it around in packing too.
Exactly. Separated. I traveled with someone once and he laid his wallet down in Vatican City and it had all of his cards, all of his cash, US currency and euros, and it was gone when he realized about 3 hours later that he had left it in the Vatican post office. And of course, no one picked it up and turned it in and said, "Oh, someone left their wallet." It was gone.
Yeah.
Everything was gone. And so there we are in the middle of the Vatican, calling all the credit card companies to cancel. And so I
Mm.
learned real quick. Then that was our first trip to Europe, and I thought, I hate this. I never want to come back, and now I go back all the time. But
But but
um,
that but I think you bring
it's
up a good
scary.
point that most of the time that the most of the issues is actually us as travelers, not necessarily criminals. It's us leaving something because we're not in our familiar routine at home, right? So
Right. We
we'll
get
put a
careless. If you're changing
handbag.
wallets or purses,
Yeah.
do it 2 weeks before so you
Mhm.
get used to it and you know where things
Good
are.
point. Oh,
But
that is
if
such a good point.
as soon as I arrive, I separate my debit and my credit cards, and one always goes in a shoe that I'm not wearing. I mean, I shouldn't tell on my secrets, but then one goes in another bag that you may not find. So, and then the cash is split up in about 3 places. So if I lose my purse, if it's stolen or something, I've got a backup because I don't want to
That's
be in a
smart.
foreign country without a credit card, a debit
Mm,
card, and a little cash.
yeah. No,
Especially
I
not to
think
mention your IDs. And, always have a
mm,
copy of your passport. I keep a copy in my suitcase. I keep a copy on my phone. Keep my passport. So a lot of these things seem logical of just be smart, have your wits around, about you, and protect your things.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. You're smart, girl. You're smart. You've done a
I've,
lot of
I've
traveling.
learned. I got a lot to learn still, but I've got some things down. I'm a pretty cautious. I try to be a cautious traveler. I did
Well, you talking
have
about, go ahead.
Oh, I had one friend who was looking at her phone she was in Barcelona, and she was looking at a picture, and she noticed a guy on a scooter turned around. She thought, he's about to steal my phone, and he zoomed up, took her phone. And here she'd been aware of it. She'd been traveling. She's an experienced traveler, and he fumbled it. And so that is the only reason she got it back. And man, she grabbed that phone, but it really spooked her because you think, how much do we store on our phone?
Yeah, that's
So
why having things stored to the cloud is really good too. And having your,
yes,
like my phone goes, you didn't do your security swipe of this and that, or your code, it's annoying,
it's
but
annoying, but
mhm.
but if nothing else, he could have stolen it. Even if he couldn't get in, he could have wiped it and sold it for $50 or something. But just beware. I know there are lanyards, and you put the little plastic piece in here, and you wear your phone around your neck, and you look absolutely dorky. But they really can't get it off of you. I mean, it makes you less of a target than when you're walking and you're looking at your phone.
Yeah,
Pay
that's not a
attention to
smart
what's
thing
going on
anyway.
around
Because
you.
yeah, walking with your phone in front of you. I've watched people walk into street lamps, and I did laugh. I'm sorry because
Well, if you're using it for
it's
maps, one tip is to
yeah,
use one Bluetooth earplug on one side, and then have your map so you've got the directions. So it's telling you walk down Main Street a quarter mile, cross to
good
the
point.
right, and so you're not looking, like looking like a
And you
tourist.
don't need it on speaker where everyone can hear where you're going and what you're doing.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. You
Ooh,
just have a little bug in your ear, and that's it. You get to where you're going, you turn it off. So
I love that idea. The person I saw walking the street lamp was having a conversation with a friend, and that's when I'm sorry, but it's being aware. I don't care if you're traveling or not.
right.
You're
Pay
out in
attention.
public.
I
Yeah,
I was walking
yeah,
this morning and doing something on my phone because I was in a hurry and thought I could multitask, and I stepped on my cat. So
yeah.
not
Well,
on
we
her. I
know.
mean, she's not hurt, but it just made her mad. I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
kind of
You
kick
don't
her.
want a
So
mad cat, and especially
yeah.
that one.
So
Oh
pay
man.
attention. Put your phones down. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be like me.
Okay, so
Okay.
packing light. That is a huge deal. I'm going to talk about packing and gifts because the thing is, we want to bring all the gifts, and then you want to bring all the gifts home, and then you want to pack and how much you're going to put. And it's like if you have to change flights suddenly and you have to go find your luggage, and it's like a huge amount, like when.
Exactly. If you're traveling to see family in the US, see if you're purchasing gifts, to do that. And you can purchase them on Target, Walmart, Amazon, any of, Etsy, any of those places, whatever. See if you can send the gifts directly to where you're traveling. And so I do that every year, and I send them to a daughter, and I pay her to wrap them because I hate wrapping. But it saves me from hauling an extra suitcase. And then what if it gets lost? What if it gets stolen? What if it's
Mm.
open and there's all these gifts? So if you can ship things ahead of time, that's a great idea. I'm not asking you to wait until the last minute. If they can be shipped ahead of time and held for you, that is one really easy solution. Another
Mm.
thing is, if you do need to travel with gifts, don't wrap them, because there are many times when if you're carrying on, where TSA may have to open them just to see something looks strange. It's a toy that has a little screwdriver in it or whatever, and so they may have to unwrap them. So all of your hard work may be in vain by wrapping them
Mm.
ahead of time. So,
Ah,
and even with checked bags, there are occasions that those bags also have to be opened and inspected. So, but shipping ahead is so much easier, or better. Don't buy so much stuff and buy an experience.
call Cheryl.
I can help with that. But even local, You know, do they have, or, the pizza places that have all the party stuff, the games and, all of that. So experiences go so much
Mm.
further
They make
than just a bunch
memories.
of plastic junk.
Yeah, they make memories,
They do.
they
They
really
do.
do. That's, and unless you're buying something that is really special, that really resonates with that person, sometimes there's that, but I think you're really right. It's like, yeah, it's the good advice, Cheryl. She's always got good advice.
Well, my kids have finally said, please stop bringing the grandkids things when you travel because it means nothing to them and it may be cool to you. Oh, there's our,
Oh,
is that happening for you too, or is it just here?
it's just here. Cheryl's getting, oh, we're getting a
It's the
national alert
120.
as we
It's
record this.
the big
Yes.
alarm set thing. Okay.
Oh, well.
Anywho, but my kids have said, please, the grandkids don't need things. They have too many clothes, they have too many toys, too many books, things like that. And so I have to really think creatively because I don't want it to become a burden on my kids and give them clutter.
It's okay. We can't hear it.
Man. Okay. All right.
So, yeah, I
Two
agree.
phones, they've gotten that. So I turned
Yeah.
the other phone off. Okay. All
Speaking of
good.
security, we're doing TSA, so the national security should be happy with us.
Yeah.
We're talking about that. But I agree. I agree with you. The experiences are just so awesome. If maybe you're, doing the dinner before Christmas kind of thing or something like that. So
Yeah.
awesome, awesome.
Absolutely.
Everyone, Cheryl's website again is heywannago.com. She's got a great blog right there with all kinds of tips, whether you're cruising, whether you're flying for the holidays, going to the Mediterranean, you name it, check it out there. And of course, call her if you're doing those experiences. She knows, especially when it comes to cruises and Europe, you really specialize in a lot of that. And looking forward to our next time, Cheryl. Thanks so much.
Good to see you. Thank you.
You too. Take care. Everyone, safe travels. Keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's Vacation Station Travel and Leisure Show, brought to you by Big Blend Magazines.